everybody. Let's bring up Brent. Woo! How is it going, Brent? Or is it MAGA Brent? Because you were protesting at Kamala Harris's rally.
Man, Henry, another untrue statement that's not true coming from you.
You said you were protesting, right? You said you were at protest.
but I didn't say I was MAGA.
Okay, so that's not MAGA. All right, guys. So he's not. So who did you vote for, Brent?
I voted for Kamala.
What?
Because
wait.
No.
Wait. You were protesting, but now you voted for her? You said she's fake.
But Henry, there's again the nuance of. I have a different philosophy than most people on here. They're like either all Kamala, all Trump, blah 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 blah. They're all, both parties are horrible. They're a duopoly. They're both serve the same people, the establishment, and you have to vote third party, but third party is not viable. So you have two options: you either vote for two of them, or you sit it out. And I understand both viewpoints because. If you vote for someone, you're basically endorsing them. But as you well know, you don't vote for someone because you necessarily support everything that they push for. You might be a single issue supporter, or you might like them because they're of what their gender or whatever, their race, whatever. They have many different reasons. And I protested Kamala because she pretends she wants to be for women's rights when Obama had the opportunity to codify Roe v. Wade when during his first term as president. He had an opportunity, he had a super majority, and he pushed for access to healthcare. He's another one of those wordsmiths. He used semantics to fool people when he said, I'm pushing for more access to healthcare. What he was really saying was, I want to give people more access to pay for expensive healthcare they cannot afford. He's a phony, and so is Kamala. So that's why I protested Kamala, and then she heard me, and then all of a sudden the entire crowd turned against me, and then I see these plainclothes people. I'm assuming they were Secret Service. I was like, oh shoot! I saw how they were treating the Ukraine protesters. I was like, I'm gonna leave because this is a private event, and they have a right to remove me. Because it's a private business.
Okay.
Now,
let's take it back for a little bit. Did you vote for Obama when he ran for the second term? And was that 20?
I did.
So you voted for Obama twice?
Yes, I did. Once.
Just the
because
second time.
I was skeptical, and I realized, but the thing is, if you don't participate in politics, then it's kind of, I feel like people should participate, and you just have to choose whoever's in front of you. And I know people disagree with that, but that's my philosophy. And I understand the other side of not voting as well, because the Democrats and Republicans, it's a duopoly, and they both serve the billionaire class. Elon Musk was dining with Donald Trump. Both parties are serving the elite class, and they're all suffering. So you just have to vote for the mitigate damage control. Who's going to do less damage? That's my philosophy.
And you chose Kamala. Why? You think she's going to do the less damage than Trump and Elon?
Yes, because although in reality, Obama, Kamala Harris, Biden, they're Reagan Republicans in reality. If you really look at their policies, but they fool people. They leave stuff. They leave out meaningful context. They use wordplay, semantics. Obama is a very smart individual, and Kamala didn't play the game as well as he did. That's why she lost and he won, because Obama has his eloquence, his way with words, his ability to speak on the fly. That's why he won. And even though they're the exact same, they pushed for the exact same policies, Obama was able to play the word games.
Okay, so
and that's why he was able to win.
Why do you think Kamala lost?
Because she's not as eloquent. She can't speak on the fly. She's scripted. Obama scripted as well, but he's able to speak on the fly. Kamala is unable to do that. That's why she doesn't go on shows like Joe Rogan. She doesn't go on.
You can't do Joe
She doesn't go
Rogan.
on independent. She goes on things like Breakfast Club, these establishment hacks who push a certain agenda. And these people, these independent media, they're allowed to have their perspective, but she only goes on certain news media like MSNBC, CNN. She'll go on those channels because they're supposed to be news, but it's all propaganda.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
what do you say to answer 06 saying, what if I told you Jason was MAGA, like as in Austin St. John? Doesn't matter. We all love him as Jason David Frank. Sorry, I'm thinking like Jason Lee Scott. Doesn't matter. We all love him as Tommy. Separate the actor from the politics. Does that?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you really have to separate the politics because people might be voting maybe one issue voter or multiple issues. Most people vote due to economics, but I feel like in this case, in swing states like Missouri, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, I do feel foreign policy was the tipping point in these close. So while the economy was didn't help people, that caused people to vote against Harris. I do feel people would have voted for Harris if she called for a ceasefire in Gaza, if she called for a weapons embargo, but she didn't do that because both parties, but particularly the Democrats, they want to pretend that they're not they're for the people, but they're both bought by the military-industrial complex. So by pushing for more war, the Democratic Party is getting more money. So that's what I suspect is the reason why she didn't call for a ceasefire in Gaza.
Okay,
and people were opposing her. Like she lost Michigan because there's I believe a district on the border of Michigan and Ohio, I believe, where they voted heavily for Biden, but because of her stance on Israel, they've completely flipped on her and went for Trump.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it was Dearborn. Is that on the border? Or is Dearborn, Michigan? I don't know where that is, but that district was heavily for Biden, but it flipped on her because of her stance on Palestine.
Okay, so you think it's that. Now, hold on. Before we go further, let me shout out my fellow content creator, Delatron Z, guys. If I got a mod that can post this channel who posts way more Power Ranger content than me, go check him out. Delatron Z. I've used some of his content before. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. And he says, Brent, stop. He is trying to talk, brother. LOL. It's okay. Brent likes to get everything in. And shout out to Answer 06 who says, Bush, Obama, Trump. I know what he's saying when he says Trump. He's saying, there are some people out there who believe that Trump actually won the 2020 election per se. But you are of the opinion that it was the war that caused Michigan to flip on her and maybe some other states, because she needed more than just Michigan. You realize that, right? Michigan wasn't going to do it because once he had Georgia, it was pretty much almost GG. Did you stay up and watch the election live?
I did. And there's a combination of factors. The foreign policy, Ukraine and Palestine, Israel, Palestine, those tip the balance against her. This abortion, when people realized that the Democrats had an opportunity to codify Roe v. Wade, people turned against her. The fact that she wasn't elected, the Democratic Party didn't democratically nominate her for the nominee. That turned people off. And I do feel like the fact that she is a woman also played that's not the defining factor, but some people do have that prejudice. So I believe that also played a role, because you have someone like Biden who, when he was running, was not mentally there. When he was running. It's just unbelievable. People want to pretend that he was not mentally capable to run when he ran, but people because he was Obama's VP. That's why people voted for him. But he was mentally incompetent when he ran in 2020. It's just ridiculous how people want to play stupid and think that he all of a sudden declined during. No, it was before, and it's just it's just ridiculous.
You think Biden dropped out the race before he was announced per se? Like way before?
He shouldn't have run at all because he wasn't even there mentally there when he was running in 2020. And the reason why he should have dropped out, if he was going to drop out, it should have been last year, so that there would have been time for a democratic a primary process. But they didn't have a confidence in Kamala, so they played stupid politics, and he paid the price with that outrageous debate he had where he was just fumbling, like just acting stupid. I mean, he knew that he was not there 4 years ago, and he wasn't there back in July or June. It's just crazy, but people want to. He got removed and replaced with Kamala without a primary process. So people pay attention and they take notes, and they voted. They don't have to tell people their vote, so they voted privately at the ballot box, and the people spoke.
Okay. All right. Now, what do you think is going to happen going forward with Trump? Are you upset? Are you disappointed? Are you gonna cry like some of these other videos that we saw? What's your thoughts on the next 4 years? Is a piece of you happy, considering you do have large investments and you know that they're going to probably do better under Trump's economy than Kamala's? How do you feel about the economy going forward?
We'll see, but I think Trump he's trash. He's on social issues, he's terrible. I think his VP is crazy, but the thing is, you're only presented with two options, and people are happy that Harris lost because of her arrogance. Like, I'm speaking. Yeah, now you had to face the protesters. Unlike me and the other protesters of Ukraine, the Palestine people in Michigan came out in huge numbers. That your staff, your simp staff couldn't. They were too outnumbered that they couldn't take him out. So he was forced to address them and say, "Oh, I'm speaking."
Oh,
that arrogance. That is why she was forced to. Because at the rally in Los Angeles, I was near front row. She could hear me, but I was only one person, so I was surrounded by like maybe 6 Secret Service plainclothes Secret Service members. And I was like, I saw what they did with the Ukraine protesters. I was like, I will leave. But they were too outnumbered at that rally, and that Kamala said those words, that she exposed who she was, and that was a turnoff. And people were like, we're voting for Trump even though he's a piece of shit. They both are. It's a duopoly. And for people to say that one is better than the other, I mean, I don't agree with that. So
I think this is this may be what you're talking about, where they called her a war criminal.
We understand where we are. Hey, listen.
Before us, led the fight for freedom, and to the friends here I say, the baton is now in our.
And I respect your voice, but right now I am speaking.
Yeah. See, there's too many of the protesters that they can't leave them out. You saw the plainclothes Secret Service. Look at you can notice them if you look closely. There's too many of them that they can't take them all out.
Secret Service personnel removed protesters.
Now I am speaking.
Well, she won't be speaking too much longer, guys.
Yeah, that arrogance. Like, look at those supporters. They can't think. They don't think critically. I don't think. I mean, they're just there to support Kamala no matter what she says is right.
So how do you feel about the support blue no matter who? Did you vote Democrat across the board?
No. Because some of like the lower level, like I think like mayor, Senate, and then there's some propositions that were quote unquote red, or I voted for some of those because.
Okay, hold on. We got a super chat from Answer06 who says, Joe and Kamala didn't know where we have troops in harm's way or who have died while they were in office. Also, no one will respect her while we have conflicts in the Middle East because of her gender. That's a true statement. That is a true statement. And I did, there was like some, I think, was it at the debate with Trump where she's like, oh, we removed all our troops. And then shortly after, a video of troops was like, well, if she removed all of us, where the hell are we at? That did go viral. But yeah, answer 06 is definitely right, because there are some cultural differences between the United States and how we view women versus the Middle East, where she couldn't even hold a position in the Middle East. So, answer 06 is 100% right, man. Thank you for the donut, answer 06. Anything else you want to say about politics? What do you think about the people who didn't vote, like myself?
I understand it, because if you don't like any of the candidates, then by supporting one, it might be seen as, or you might think that you're supporting their agenda that you don't agree with. But the reality is, Jill Stein couldn't get 5% of the vote.
Jill Stein.
And it's kind of like, what if you want to keep setting out politics? Then you have to participate. This is the choices that you're presented with, and I feel like using your vote, your voice, and your vote is important. And to sit out, I mean, I understand it, but I personally feel that you should use your vote and vote however, one way or the other. That's just my opinion. I mean, if she was a viable candidate, I would have voted for her, but she's not. So you're presented with two options, and Trump is terrible. I don't like him at all. He's a phony as well, but he covers it up. He's willing to. He's able to think on the fly. If Obama faced him, Obama would have. Obama is probably the only mainstream establishment candidate who would have been able to beat Trump. Hillary, Biden.
I agree with that.
Because Obama has the eloquence. He's able to fool people with his words. He's actually the most dangerous, because he the way he says things, even if it's full of shit, people will believe it. But people don't think, they're not willing to think about. They think about the eloquence and the appearance and the appearance of the words and the way the words are said, not the actual words. But if you think about the words that Obama is saying, it's basically the same thing as Kamala. But Kamala doesn't have the eloquence, and people are fooled. They don't like her, so but with Trump, he's able to think on the fly, and he has a certain level of charisma that people fall for. But they're both pieces of shit as candidates, to be honest.
Okay, wow.
It's kind of like you have to choose one, because whether you like it or not, one of them's going to be president, and you have whether you like it or not, and you just have to choose lesser of two evils when it comes to politics. And Kamala, most of her policies are Republican in nature. On social issues, they just use things like abortion to run campaigns. If they were really serious, they would have been able to codify those laws, but they want to use it as to run campaigns. So they're honest. If you think, people might think, oh, the Republicans are more transparent in terms of what they believe in, while Democrats are misleading people to win campaigns, and that might turn people off. But yeah, they're both terrible parties. It's a duopoly, and they both serve the elitist class. So for people to think otherwise, for people to cry, oh my God, Kamala lost, and then Trump is our get real. Or if it was the other way around, people crying if Trump lost, come on. They both serve the billionaire class, and they're playing us for fools. But at the end of the day, that's her government, and we have to,
All right. Well, thank you, Brent, for coming up, man. I appreciate you. All right, man. And
all right,
you have a good night. Peace.
All right. Well, we'll talk about other things another time.
Bye, man.